When you think of the world's most feared special operations forces, a few names instantly come to mind. The Navy SEALs, with their legendary exploits from the jungles of Vietnam to the raid on Osama bin Laden's compound. Delta Force, shrouded in myth and whispered about in Pentagon hallways. The British SAS, whose motto, "Who dares wins," has inspired generations of warriors and Hollywood blockbusters alike. These units dominate headlines, documentaries, and the imaginations of anyone fascinated by the shadowy world of elite military operations. But what if the most formidable team of all isn't the one you see in movies or read about in best-selling books? What if the true gold standard for special operations is a unit so secretive, so silent, that even seasoned operators from America's most elite squads quietly measure themselves against it? This isn't a story about the usual suspects. This is about Joint Task Force 2, JTF2, the Canadian unit that has become the ultimate benchmark in the world of covert warfare. For decades, the United States has set the pace in special operations, pioneering tactics, technology, and training that have shaped the modern battlefield. American commandos are known for their relentless drive, their innovation, and their willingness to take on the world's toughest missions. Yet behind closed doors, there's a different kind of respect reserved for the quiet professionals north of the border. JTF2 doesn't chase headlines. They don't publish memoirs or star in blockbuster films. Instead, their reputation is built on whispers, stories traded in the back rooms of Allied command posts, tales of missions so sensitive that even their closest partners are left guessing. How did a country known for peacekeeping and diplomacy produce a unit that now stands shoulder to shoulder with America's best? How did JTF-2, a name barely recognized outside military circles, become the silent standard by which other special operations forces are judged? The answer isn't just about training or technology. It's about a doctrine of silence, a culture of absolute discretion, and a relentless pursuit of excellence that has quietly set them apart. In a world where information is currency and leaks can cost lives, JTF-2's invisibility is its greatest weapon. While American units often operate under the glare of media attention and public scrutiny, Canada's commandos move in the shadows, their actions known only to a select few at the highest levels of government. This isn't just a matter of national policy. It's a deliberate strategy, one that has allowed JTF-2 to carve out a unique place in the global special operations community. So why do America's most elite warriors keep an eye on their Canadian counterparts? What makes JTF-2 the unit that even the SEALs and Delta Force quietly respect? The story begins with origins so secretive that even today, much of their history remains classified. It's a tale of transformation, of a nation quietly building a force capable of matching, and sometimes surpassing, the world's best, all while staying almost completely out of the spotlight. If you think you know everything about special operations, think again. The real story of JTF-2 is one that most people will never hear. But for those who operate in the shadows, it's the only story that matters. And it all starts with a single, game-changing decision that rewrote the rules of counterterrorism forever. The story of JTF-2 doesn't begin with a dramatic battlefield victory or a high-profile rescue. Instead, it starts in the shadows of bureaucracy, with a decision so quiet that most Canadians, and almost every American, missed it entirely. On April 1, 1993, while the world's attention was fixed on the aftermath of the Cold War and the rise of new global threats, Canada made a move that would change the landscape of special operations forever. The government dissolved the RCMP's Special Emergency Response Team, a police unit once responsible for counterterrorism, and handed the nation's most sensitive missions to the Department of National Defense. This wasn't just a reshuffling of responsibilities. It was a seismic shift, a calculated gamble to create a military unit capable of handling the kind of threats that keep American generals awake at night. From the very beginning, JTF-2 was designed to be different. While the United States was building up its Special Operations Command, refining the skills of SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force, Canada was quietly assembling a team with a singular focus: speed, deniability, and overwhelming force, all wrapped in a cloak of absolute secrecy. The first operators weren't rookies. They were hand-picked from the Canadian Airborne Regiment and Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, men already hardened by some of the toughest training in North America. These weren't just soldiers. They were specialists in unconventional warfare, airborne operations, and light infantry tactics. Their backgrounds gave JTF2 an immediate edge, fusing the best of Canada's military traditions with a new, ruthless approach to counterterrorism. But what truly set JTF2 apart wasn't just the caliber of its recruits. It was the doctrine of silence that governed every aspect of the unit's creation. Unlike American special operations, where the names of legendary commanders and famous missions sometimes leak into the public domain, JTF2's origins remain locked behind layers of classified documents and sealed parliamentary transcripts. No one outside a select circle knows the full story of who fought to make JTF2 a reality, or the political battles waged behind closed doors. What is clear, though, is the logic. Only a military-led, highly classified unit could offer both the firepower and the discretion demanded by the new era of global threats. JTF2's official charter was simple but uncompromising: protect national interests, fight terrorism, and rescue hostages, always under a veil of secrecy. This wasn't just about keeping secrets for the sake of tradition. In the world of special operations, where a single leak can compromise an entire mission, silence is a weapon as powerful as any rifle or explosive. From day one, JTF2 answered only to the highest levels of government, operating in the shadows while other units chased headlines. For American viewers, this approach might sound familiar. The U.S. has its own quiet professionals, units like Delta Force and the CIA's Special Activities Center, who thrive on deniability and discretion. But even among these elite circles, JTF2's commitment to secrecy is legendary. There are no public records of their missions, no best-selling books written by former operators, and no Hollywood adaptations. The less the world knows, the greater the advantage in the field. This doctrine of silence became both shield and sword for Canada's most elite commandos. It allowed them to move without the drag of bureaucracy or the glare of media attention. It gave them the freedom to act in places where public scrutiny would tie the hands of other forces. And it set a standard that even America's most secretive units quietly admire. The origins of JTF2 are a masterclass in strategic thinking, proof that sometimes the most powerful moves are made in silence. As the world's threats grew more complex and unpredictable, Canada's decision to build a unit in the shadows would prove to be a game-changer, not just for their own security, but for the entire landscape of special operations. And as you'll see, this was only the beginning of a story that would redefine what it means to be elite. Inside the world of special operations, reputation is everything. In the United States, the phrase "quiet professionals" is worn like a badge of honor by the Green Berets, Delta Force, and the Navy SEALs. But even among these legendary units, there's a level of secrecy that stands apart, a culture so deeply ingrained that it becomes the very foundation of a team's power. For JTF2, this isn't just a motto, it's a way of life. From the moment a candidate steps into the orbit of JTF2, they're introduced to a doctrine that values silence above all else. The unit's unofficial creed, facta non verba, deeds, not words, serves as both a warning and a promise. In a world where social media posts and tell-all memoirs can turn classified missions into public spectacles, JTF2's operators are ghosts. Their names are never released. Their faces are never shown. Even within the Canadian military, most personnel will never know who serves in JTF2 or what missions they've carried out. This isn't just about protecting identities. It's about safeguarding the very effectiveness of the unit. For American audiences, this level of discretion might sound extreme. After all, The exploits of SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force have become part of American military lore, with books, movies, and interviews offering glimpses into their world. But JTF2 takes secrecy to another level. There are no authorized biographies, no public speaking tour, and no leaks to the press. Every operation is cloaked in layers of deniability, with only the highest levels of government privy to the details. This isn't just a matter of policy, it's a survival strategy. Why does this matter? In the high-stakes arena of counterterrorism and covert warfare, information is as valuable as any weapon. A single leak can compromise an entire mission, put lives at risk, and undermine years of planning. JTF2's culture of absolute discretion acts as a force multiplier, allowing small teams to move quickly and decisively without the drag of bureaucracy or the risk of exposure. Their size, rarely more than a few hundred operators, isn't a weakness. It's a calculated advantage. Trusted implicitly, these teams can maneuver in the world's most sensitive environments, often where larger, more publicized units cannot. This relentless commitment to secrecy has earned JTF2 a reputation that extends far beyond Canada's borders. In Allied command posts from Washington to London, whispers about JTF2's capabilities circulate among those in the know. American commanders, accustomed to working with the best, recognize the value of a partner who can operate in total silence. In joint operations, JTF2's presence is often unacknowledged, their contributions hidden behind layers of classification. Yet, when the stakes are highest, it's not uncommon for U.S. leaders to specifically request Canadian operators for missions where deniability and discretion are paramount. The impact of this culture is profound. While other units might chase headlines or public recognition, JTF2 measures success in results, not in glory. Their operators are trained to let their actions speak for themselves, to disappear into the mission and return without fanfare. This mindset creates a bond of trust that is unbreakable, a brotherhood forged not in the spotlight but in the shadows. For those who make it through the grueling selection process, the reward isn't fame or fortune. It's the knowledge that they are part of a team whose very existence is a closely guarded secret. Every mission, every operation, is conducted with the understanding that silence is both shield and sword. In a world where the line between success and disaster can be razor-thin, JTF2's culture of absolute discretion is its sharpest weapon. As global threats continue to evolve, the value of a unit that can operate without leaving a trace has never been higher. In the eyes of America's most elite warriors, JTF2 isn't just another special operations force. They are the standard by which true quiet professionalism is measured. And in the silent war that rages beyond the headlines, that reputation is worth more than any medal or headline. In the world of elite special operations, the path to joining the ranks is never easy. But even by the unforgiving standards of America's most legendary units, whether it's the Navy SEALs, infamous Hell Week, or Delta Force's secretive assessment and selection, Canada's JTF2 stands out for its relentless, almost brutal approach to finding the few who can truly disappear into the shadows. For those who dream of wearing the JTF2 patch, the journey begins not with a dramatic obstacle course or a daring night jump, but with a wall of scrutiny that weeds out all but the most exceptional. Unlike many American units, JTF2 doesn't accept walk-ons or civilian hopefuls. Only serving members of the Canadian Armed Forces can even apply, and every candidate must already be proven in the basics of soldiering, trade skills, and, ideally, airborne operations. If you haven't earned your jump wings, you'd better be ready to prove you can handle the plunge. But paperwork is just the first hurdle. Each application is routed through a chain of command, scrutinized for any sign of weakness or instability. Medical records are dissected, looking for the slightest hint of a problem that could become a liability in the field. Psychological screening isn't a box to check. It's a deep dive into the candidate's motivation, resilience, and judgment. Personnel selection officers are trained to spot cracks in character, to strip away bravado and expose the real person beneath the uniform. For American viewers familiar with the rigorous psychological evaluations of Delta Force or the mental games of Bud S, JTF2's process will sound both familiar and uniquely unforgiving. The structured interviews are designed to break down egos and test for the rare blend of drive and stability that thrives in the shadows. If there's even a hint of the wrong kind of ambition or instability, the file is closed. No exceptions, no second chances. Physical fitness standards are set at a level that rivals or exceeds most elite units in the world. The baseline is a 1.5-mile run in under 9 minutes and 45 seconds, but the best aim for 9 flat. Push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups are performed to exhaustion, not for show, but to prove functional strength and raw endurance. The infamous 12-kilometer ruck march, carrying 35 kilograms across uneven ground, is a test that breaks even the most seasoned soldiers. There's no helmet, no rifle, just the candidate, the weight, and the clock. The swim test is another ruthless filter, designed to weed out anyone with even a flicker of doubt in the water. Every event is a calculated attempt to find the limit, and then push past it. What sets JTF2 apart isn't just the difficulty of these tests, but the relentless pace and the unforgiving standards. Up to 3 attempts are allowed, but the majority never make it past the first. Each gate, medical, psychological, physical, shrinks the pool of candidates until only the most resilient remain. No matter how decorated or determined, most are quietly turned away before the real test even begins. For those who survive this gauntlet, the reward isn't a badge or a headline. It's a chance to stand at the starting line of a selection course that will break nearly everyone else. The attrition rate hovers above 70%, a number that isn't rumor but reality, confirmed by every operator who has survived the ordeal. The process is designed to strip away everything but the core of a person's character, to find those rare individuals who can endure silence, pressure, and the unknown. JTF2 doesn't just want the strongest or the fastest. It wants those who can vanish into the mission and come back with nothing but results. For American Special Operations fans, the stories of Bud S and Delta's long walk are legendary. But in the secretive world of JTF2, the selection process is a crucible that forges not just tough soldiers, but true shadow operators. The ones who make it through are the few who can thrive in the darkness, trusted to carry out missions that will never make the news. In the end, the ruthless selection process isn't just about finding warriors. It's about building a team that can outlast, outthink, and outfight any adversary, anywhere in the world. For those rare few who survive JTF2's ruthless selection process, the real test is only just beginning. In the world of special operations, every elite unit has its own crucible. Navy SEALs endure Hell Week, Delta Force candidates face the infamous Long Walk, and Army Rangers are pushed to their limits in the swamps and mountains of the United States. But even among these legendary rites of passage, JTF2's training pipeline stands out as a gauntlet designed to break the body, shatter the mind, and forge something sharper than steel. The journey starts with endurance, but not the kind most soldiers are used to. Candidates are thrown into relentless ruck marches, each one more punishing than the last. Picture hauling a 35-kilogram pack across 12 kilometers of mud, rock, and snow, over and over, with no room for error and no time to recover. The clock is merciless, and the standard is set higher than almost any other special operations unit in the world. The weakest drop out early, their dreams left behind in the dirt. For those who remain, the cold becomes a constant adversary. JTF2's Arctic module is infamous. Candidates are dropped into sub-zero wilderness, forced to navigate and survive with minimal gear. Sleds drag behind them, boots freeze solid overnight, and the wind strips away any illusion of comfort. The lesson is simple and brutal. If you can't fight the environment, you'll never survive the mission. This isn't just about physical toughness. It's about mental resilience, the ability to keep moving when every instinct screams to quit. For American viewers, it's a reminder of the legendary cold weather training at Fort Drum or the mountain warfare schools in Colorado, but with even higher stakes and less margin for error. Close Quarters Battle, or CQB, is another filter. The phase is a blur of live-fire room entries, hostage rescue drills, and split-second decisions under suffocating stress. Every movement is judged, every mistake amplified. Operators must process chaos, coordinate with teammates, and remain lethal under pressure. There's no space for hesitation, no margin for error. Insertion training pushes the envelope further. Static line jumps, halo and HAHO parachuting, and fast-rope descents from helicopters become routine. Candidates hit the water for maritime modules, facing cold, dark, and unforgiving conditions. Amphibious approaches and swimmer delivery vehicles are all fair game. The goal is to master every route in and out, whether by air, land, or sea. But the final trial is what truly separates JTF2 from the rest. The infamous 72-hour continuous stress exercise is a test of pure willpower. Sleep vanishes, food is rationed, and the tasks never end. Navigation, endurance, marksmanship, and decision-making blend into a blur of exhaustion. It's here that even the strongest start to question themselves. But quitting isn't an option. The ones who crawl through the finish line have nothing left to prove to anyone, not even themselves. Operators who emerge from this crucible are not just fit, they're adaptable, unbreakable, and trusted to operate in the world's harshest environments. The training pipeline isn't about making tough soldiers. It's about forging operators who can disappear into the Arctic night, breach a door in a split second, or slip unseen from a helicopter into hostile territory. This is the standard that sets JTF2 apart, and it's why, among the world's elite, Canada's commandos are quietly feared and deeply respected. For American Special Operations fans, the stories of Bud S., Ranger School, and Delta Selection are legendary. But in the secretive world of JTF2, the training is a crucible that forges not just warriors, but true shadow operators, men and women who can thrive in the darkness, trusted to carry out missions that will never make the news. In the end, the Gauntlet isn't just about survival. It's about transformation, about becoming the kind of operator who can outlast, outthink, and outfight any adversary, anywhere in the world. Every elite unit is ultimately defined not by its training, but by its performance on the battlefield. For America's Special Operations Forces, the crucible of combat has always been the ultimate test, whether it's the SEALs storming compounds in the dead of night, Delta Force hunting high-value targets, or Green Berets building alliances in hostile territory. But in the aftermath of 9/11, as the world's attention turned to Afghanistan, a new player quietly entered the arena. JTF2, Canada's shadow unit, deployed into the heart of the conflict, stepping onto the same unforgiving ground as America's most storied warriors. While the headlines focused on massive troop deployments and high-profile raids, JTF2 operated in near-total silence. Their first major test came as part of Task Force KBAR, a coalition of elite teams from the United States, Britain, Australia, and beyond. The mission: hunt down Taliban and al-Qaeda leadership in the chaos of southern Afghanistan. Official records remain sealed, but what has surfaced is enough to turn heads even in the Pentagon. Over 6 months, JTF2 contributed to the capture of more than 100 enemy leaders and played a direct role in eliminating over 100 fighters. These aren't rumors. They're numbers confirmed by U.S. military reports and acknowledged by Canada's own defense minister. Recognition from the United States came swiftly. In January 2002, JTF2 was awarded the Presidential Unit Citation, a rare honor for foreign troops, reserved for those who display extraordinary heroism alongside America's best. General Rick Hillier, then Chief of Defense Staff, didn't mince words. He called JTF2 world-class, and revealed that Allied commanders specifically requested Canadian operators for the most sensitive jobs. For American viewers, this is the kind of respect that isn't given lightly. In the world of special operations, where reputation is everything, being hand-picked by U.S. commanders is the ultimate endorsement. Journalists who specialize in military affairs, like David Puglis, have confirmed that JTF-2's performance in Afghanistan cemented its status among the world's elite. On the ground, their innovation and adaptability became the standard by which others measured themselves. While larger units made headlines, JTF-2 delivered results, quietly, decisively, and without fanfare. Their ability to blend into joint operations, to move without drawing attention, and to execute missions with surgical precision set them apart in a theater where every mistake could be fatal. But Afghanistan was just the beginning. Since then, rumors have swirled about JTF-2's involvement in some of the world's most sensitive operations. Reports claim they've operated alongside U.S. Navy SEALs and Delta Force in Iraq, Syria, and other undisclosed locations, often taking on missions that required the highest level of deniability. While official confirmation is rare, the buzz within the special operations community is impossible to ignore. Allied commanders know that when a mission demands absolute silence and flawless execution, JTF-2 is a name that rises to the top of the list. For American special operations fans, the idea of a foreign unit earning this level of trust and respect is both intriguing and a little unsettling. The United States has long set the standard for elite military operations, but JTF-2's track record proves that excellence knows no borders. Their ability to operate seamlessly alongside America's best, to adapt to the harshest environments, and to deliver results without seeking the spotlight has made them a force to be reckoned with. In the end, the battlefield is the ultimate proving ground, and in Afghanistan and beyond, JTF-2 has shown that it belongs in the same conversation as the SEALs, Delta Force, and the SAS. Their story is a reminder that sometimes, the most effective warriors are the ones you never see coming, the silent professionals who let their actions speak louder than any headline. In the world of special operations, the right gear can mean the difference between dominance and disaster. American units like the Navy SEALs and Delta Force are famous for their relentless pursuit of technological superiority, always seeking the next generation weapon, the most advanced optics, the toughest body armor. But while the U.S. leads the charge in military innovation, Canada's JTF-2 has quietly built an arsenal that rivals the best, blending proven reliability with cutting-edge advancements tailored for the world's harshest environments. Publicly available equipment lists only scratch the surface of what JTF-2 brings to the fight. Reports suggest that the unit has adopted the SIG MCX rifle family, a platform prized by elite forces worldwide for its modularity, suppressed fire, and adaptability in close-quarters combat. This is the same rifle that's become a favorite among America's top-tier operators, known for its reliability in the most demanding missions. Alongside the MCX, JTF-2 maintains Legacy Colt Canada C8 carbines, battle-tested and trusted by special operations units across NATO. For precision work, the unit is rumored to field the SACO TRG series and the ELCAN Spectre optics, giving operators the ability to reach out and dominate at distance. But what truly sets JTF-2 apart isn't just their firepower, it's their mastery of the Arctic. While most American special operations units train for desert, jungle, or urban warfare, JTF-2 has carved out a unique niche as the world's premier cold-weather commandos. Their annual participation in Operation Nanook, a grueling exercise in the Canadian Arctic, is legendary. Here, operators are issued specialized cold-weather gear, insulated weapons, heated clothing, and purpose-built sleds for deep snow mobility. These aren't off-the-shelf solutions. Every item is tested for performance in sub-zero conditions, ensuring that JTF2 can operate for days in the polar night without compromise. This Arctic edge isn't just a point of pride, it's a strategic advantage that even America's best recognize. In joint exercises, U.S. Special Operations Forces have trained alongside JTF2, learning the hard lessons of survival and mobility in environments where a single mistake can be fatal. The Canadian Commandos' expertise in these conditions is unmatched, giving them the ability to deploy rapidly and operate effectively where others would falter. For American viewers, it's a reminder that the battlefield isn't always a sun-baked desert or a dense urban sprawl. Sometimes, it's a frozen wasteland where only the most adaptable survive. JTF2's commitment to modernization is relentless. Procurement announcements reveal a steady flow of investment in new technology, advanced communications gear for encrypted, real-time coordination, modular weapon systems that allow operators to instantly adapt from urban close quarters to frozen tundra, and maritime craft designed for cold water insertion, giving the unit true multi-domain capability. This isn't about luxury, it's about survival. In the unforgiving world of special operations, staying ahead of the curve is the only way to ensure mission success. For American special operations fans, the image of a SEAL team kitted out with the latest gear is iconic. But JTF2's approach is a reminder that true elite status isn't just about having the best equipment. It's about knowing how to use it in the world's most extreme environments. Whether it's slipping unseen across the ice, breaching a door in a snowstorm, or executing a high-risk extraction in the dead of night, JTF2's arsenal and Arctic expertise make them a force that even America's finest quietly respect. In the end, it's this combination of cutting-edge technology and unmatched environmental mastery that keeps JTF2 at the forefront of global special operations. While others chase headlines, Canada's silent professionals continue to innovate, adapt, and dominate, proving that sometimes the deadliest edge is the one you never see coming. No elite unit, no matter how secretive or respected, is immune from controversy. In the United States, even the most legendary Special Operations Forces, Navy SEALs, Delta Force, and the CIA's Special Activities Center, have faced intense scrutiny, both from the media and from within the halls of Congress. For JTF2, the price of operating in the shadows is a delicate balance between absolute secrecy and the demands of democratic oversight. And when controversy strikes, the world gets a rare glimpse behind the curtain of Canada's most secretive warriors. One of the most significant moments in JTF2's history came in 2006, during the height of the Afghanistan conflict. Reports surfaced that JTF2 had transferred detainees to Afghan authorities, sparking a firestorm of debate in the Canadian Parliament and raising questions about compliance with international law. The case led to hearings, internal reviews, and a wave of media attention that threatened to pierce the unit's legendary veil of silence. For American viewers, this echoes the controversies that have surrounded U.S. special operations, whether it's the handling of prisoners at Abu Ghraib or the classified missions that occasionally make headlines for all the wrong reasons. But JTF2's response was telling. While the details of their operations remained classified, the unit was subjected to multiple layers of oversight. Parliamentary committees, the Auditor General, and military police all have jurisdiction to investigate JTF2 when necessary. This layered scrutiny ensures that even the most secretive operators remain answerable to Canadian law. It's a system that mirrors the checks and balances found in the United States, where elite units operate under the watchful eye of Congress, the Department of Defense, and independent watchdogs. Yet the tension between secrecy and accountability is always present. For JTF2, operational security isn't just a tradition, it's a legal and ethical shield. Canadian law, including the Security of Information Act and Defense Administrative Orders, makes it a criminal offense to disclose operational specifics about JTF2. That means no mission dates, no call signs, no tactics, nothing that could give away how these commandos work or where they have been. Even interviews with former operators are anonymized by default, with voices altered and faces never shown. Every word, every image, is weighed against the risk it could pose to missions or lives. For American Special Operations fans, this level of secrecy might seem extreme, but it's a calculated necessity. In a world where a single leak can compromise an entire mission, JTF2's culture of discretion is its sharpest weapon. The unit's record is formidable. In over 3 decades of global operations, only a single publicly acknowledged breach, a minor incident during operations in Kurdistan, has ever been confirmed, and even then, the Canadian Armed Forces assess the risk as minimal. Compare that to the frequent leaks and media exposure faced by larger, more publicized forces like the SEALs and SAS, and it's clear why JTF2's invisibility is considered an operational advantage. Still, controversy is an inevitable part of the special operations world. The very nature of their missions, high risk, politically sensitive, and often conducted in the gray areas of international law, means that JTF2, like its American counterparts, will always walk a fine line. But what sets them apart is their unwavering commitment to both secrecy and accountability. Every mission is conducted with the understanding that the price of access to the world's most secretive commandos is constant vigilance, both from within and from the outside. In the end, JTF2's ability to operate at the highest level while remaining under the watchful eye of democratic institutions is a testament to their professionalism and discipline. For American viewers, it's a reminder that true elite status isn't just about battlefield success. It's about upholding the values and laws that define a nation, even when no one is watching. And in the silent war that rages beyond the headlines, that balance is what keeps JTF2 at the top of the world's most respected special operations forces. In the high-stakes world of special operations, reputation is everything. For American units like the Navy SEALs, Delta Force, and the Green Berets, their legendary status is built on a combination of battlefield victories, relentless training, and a culture of innovation. But there's another factor that often goes unnoticed by the public, one that JTF2 has mastered better than almost any other unit on the planet: the power of invisibility. For over 3 decades, JTF2 has operated in the shadows, executing missions that rarely make the news but often change the course of events behind the scenes. While American Special Operations Forces are no strangers to secrecy, JTF2's record for operational security is almost unmatched. In a world where leaks and media exposure can compromise even the most carefully planned missions, JTF2's ability to remain invisible is not just a point of pride. It's a strategic advantage that sets them apart from their peers. Consider this. In more than 30 years of global deployments, JTF2 has experienced only a single publicly acknowledged breach, a minor incident in Kurdistan that was quickly contained and assessed as minimal risk by the Canadian Armed Forces. Compare that to the frequent headlines about SEAL Team 6 or the SAS, where even the smallest details can become front-page news. For American viewers, this level of discretion is both impressive and enviable. It's the kind of operational discipline that every elite unit strives for but few truly achieve. But invisibility isn't just about avoiding the spotlight. It's about freedom of action. JTF2's small, tightly knit teams can be deployed rapidly, without the bureaucratic drag or political scrutiny that often slows down larger, more publicized forces. Their size is a calculated asset. Trusted implicitly, these operators can maneuver in the world's most sensitive environments, often where even America's best would face red tape or unwanted attention. This agility allows JTF2 to take on missions that demand absolute deniability, from high-risk hostage rescues to covert reconnaissance in hostile territory. Another key advantage is JTF2's unique expertise in Arctic warfare. While most American special operations units are trained for a variety of environments, few can match the Canadians' mastery of the polar night. Their annual participation in exercises like Operation Nanook has made them the go-to experts for survival and mobility in sub-zero conditions. This Arctic edge isn't just a point of national pride. It's a capability that Allied commanders, including those in the U.S., regularly request when the mission calls for operating in the world's harshest climates. But perhaps the most telling sign of JTF2 standing among the world's elite is the quiet respect they command from America's top special operations leaders. In joint operations, it's not uncommon for U.S. commanders to specifically request JTF2 operators for the most sensitive jobs, missions where failure is not an option and secrecy is paramount. This isn't just about capability, it's about trust. In the tight-knit world of special operations, where reputations are built on results, JTF2 has earned a place at the table through decades of flawless execution. For American special operations fans, the story of JTF2 is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most effective warriors are the ones you never see coming. Their unseen advantage, rooted in discretion, adaptability, and relentless professionalism, has allowed them to quietly outpace legends and set a new standard for what it means to be truly elite. As global threats continue to evolve, the demand for silent professionals who can operate without leaving a trace has never been higher. And while headlines may chase familiar names, the world's toughest missions increasingly go to those who can deliver results in total silence. In this silent war, JTF2's unseen advantage is not just their greatest strength, it's the reason they remain at the very top of the world's most respected special operations forces. In the world of special operations, legends are born in the shadows. For decades, American audiences have been captivated by the stories of Navy SEALs storming enemy compounds, Delta Force operators executing high-stakes rescues, and Green Berets forging alliances in the world's most dangerous places. These tales of heroism and grit have shaped the very image of what it means to be elite. But as the dust settles on the world's most publicized missions, a different kind of legend continues to grow, one that thrives not on headlines but on whispers. That legend is JTF2. Canada's Joint Task Force 2 has quietly become the gold standard for what it means to be a quiet professional. While American special operations units have rightfully earned their place in history, JTF2 has carved out a unique legacy, one defined by absolute discretion, relentless training, and a willingness to take on the missions that no one else will touch. Their story is not one of fame or fortune, but of silent excellence. In a world where information is currency and exposure can mean disaster, JTF2's greatest weapon is their invisibility. For U.S. viewers, the idea that the world's most feared commandos might not be the ones making the news is both intriguing and humbling. JTF2's operators are the ultimate shadow warriors, men and women who have mastered the art of vanishing into the mission, leaving behind only results. Their ability to operate in total silence, to adapt to the harshest environments, and to deliver when it matters most has earned them a level of respect that transcends borders. In the back rooms of Allied command posts, their reputation is spoken of in the same breath as SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force. Sometimes, it's even said that JTF2 sets the standard by which others are measured. But what does it really mean to be the deadliest unit you never see? It means accepting a life where success is measured not in medals or media coverage, but in the quiet knowledge that you made a difference when it mattered most. It means carrying the weight of missions that will never be acknowledged and facing dangers that most people can't even imagine. It means being trusted with the kind of responsibility that only a handful of people on the planet will ever understand. As global threats continue to evolve, the need for silent professionals has never been greater. The world's toughest missions, those that demand absolute deniability, flawless execution, and the ability to disappear without a trace, are increasingly handed to units like JTF2. Their standards break bodies, their secrecy is legendary, and their results speak louder than any headline ever could. In the silent war that rages beyond the headlines, JTF2 stands ready, quietly outpacing legends and redefining what it means to be elite. So, what do you think? Does JTF2 deserve its place at the top of the world's most respected special operations forces? Is the true measure of greatness found in the shadows, where only the results matter? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because sometimes the deadliest unit is the one you never see coming.